Hello and welcome to the Chasers Media Circus. This show was recorded last night with our guest Al Jazeera journalist Peter Grester. As the show ended, news broke of the Egyptian pardons. You'll see the moment that Peter heard the news later. But that's why, at the start of the show, it seems like we're ignorant of this crucial piece of news. As for all the other crucial pieces of news we were ignorant of, there's no excuse for that. Enjoy.
People who notice things that are suspicious.
Welcome back to the Media Circus, the game show about the news. In a week where Australian golfer Jason Day wins golf something or other and accidentally reads out Malcolm Turnbull's diary.
Right now, there's no one on this planet that's better than me.
And Prime Minister Turnbull proves he's so long-winded that the sun sets before he can actually finish a breakfast TV interview.
Well, Tony...
And joining us on the Media Circus tonight are National Political Editor for News.com.au, Malcolm Farr. Check-out presenter and author of Almost Sincerely, Zoe Norton-Lodge. And currently touring the country, comedian Stephen K. Amos. And they're up against Federal Political Editor for the Adelaide Advertiser, Tori Shepherd. Julian Morrow. And Al Jazeera journalist Peter Grester. Now, Peter, a lot of people, of course, know your story because of what happened in Egypt, but you've been a foreign correspondent for a long time. And look, Canberra might have been pretty tough this week, but we found one of the press conferences you covered in Somalia.
The Foreign Minister was just beginning his opening remarks when an explosion rocked the building. It was followed by heavy gunfire. Then, about 10 minutes later, a second blast.
Were you as cool as that president?
I was on the floor. I had the microphone up like this. There were a couple of suicide bombers who'd actually gone off outside the building, and the gunfire, this was a full-scale Al-Shabaab attack, and the president just stood there and said, "It's all under control. We've got it. It's all fine." He said, you know, in Mogadishu, they actually call that the Mogadishu music.
Peter, you spent 400 days in an Egyptian jail, and last month you and your Al Jazeera colleagues, Mohammed Fahmy and Bahe Mohammed, were unjustly sentenced to 3 more years in prison. Thankfully, you're back in Australia while your 2 colleagues remain in jail in Egypt. But let's return to the relative safety of Australia, where the biggest danger for journalists is this.
Well, a local ranger and I just got bitten by a bullet. Oh my God. Oh, I'm about to cry. It's really, really sore.
OK, Zoe, Stephen and Malcolm, this week your team Turnbull. So, Peter, Julian and Tori, you are Turnbull's opposition, whoever replaces Shorten. And as always, the Media Circus is under the watchful eye of our fact-checker, Chaz Lichadello.
Hello. What's the fact check this week, Craig? Especially in that Four Corners episode about Tony Abbott's demise.
The following day, Julie Bishop walked the corridor to the Prime Minister's office to break the news.
I know that she is a person, that she is a person.
Thank you, Chaz. Thank you for that. OK, now let's play the news game.
Stitch up.
Here's how the game works. We stitch together 3 stories from the week's news. Team Shorten, you tell us what these stories are. Here are your clues.
Donald Trump has once again come under fire, this time for
the hoax phone call which tricked Sir Elton John into thinking he was
Miss Piggy and
All right, Team Shorten, what was the first story there?
I think it was Donald Trump made some... there was somebody in the crowd at one of his rallies who I think called President Obama a Muslim, and he didn't correct him or express any opposition to that.
That is right. Let's see. The first story was American presidential candidate Donald Trump refusing to correct a supporter who called Barack Obama a Muslim.
Problem in this country, it's called Muslims. We know our current president is one. Right. You know he's not even an American.
We need this question.
Man.
OK, what about the second story there?
Didn't that have something to do with Elton John having a special relationship with Vladimir Putin?
Yes, very close. A pair of Russian radio hosts tricked Sir Elton John into thinking he was talking to Vladimir Putin.
I'll be interpreter between you and Mr. Putin.
I would love to sit down with the president and discuss things face to face, because I think we can solve many issues together.
I got to say, I just think, I find it hard to believe that that man could be hoodwinked in any way. Look at him, he looks like a very
yeah, to be fair, he sees the world through rose-coloured glasses. Yes, it was Russia's favourite morning team, Mick Kyle and Jackie Moscow.
All right, that's it, I'm going.
Thank you, thank you. Team Shorten, what was the last story?
I reckon that'd have to be the David Cameron story, wouldn't it?
Oh, it just gets worse and worse. It's romantic troubles, isn't it? Aren't Miss Piggy and Kermit are they breaking up?
They did. They split up, and apparently, let's see what this last story was.
Today, Miss Piggy has spoken publicly for the first time since the split.
Are you back out there? Back in the dating game?
Oh, dating?
Yeah.
Absolutely, yes. I am playing the field.
How come no bombs ever go off in those interviews, eh? All right, well done. You got 3 out of 3. Congratulations. OK, to Team Turnbull, here is your stitch-up.
In an extraordinary radio interview with Ray Hadley, Scott Morrison has ripped apart a teddy bear
after his homemade clock was mistaken for a bomb.
What was the first story there?
That was Ray Hadley demanding Scott Morrison swear that he listens to 2GB with his hand on a Bible. And Mr Morrison declined, saying, you know, say what you like, but don't make me defend my faith. It was an extraordinary moment of radio. Who would ever ask a Minister of the Crown to swear to something on a Bible?
What do you mean? The Governor-General did it to every one of them when they signed in.
I thought the most extraordinary thing about it was that in this setup for this moment, Ray Hadley's intern or somebody had forgotten to put the Bible there.
The late intern.
Yeah. Yes, Chaz?
You guys are wrong. There is no way Ray Hadley would have gotten angry. I mean, he's such a fun-loving guy.
Mind you, I don't know about Darren Lehman going to a Liverpool game. Not sure about that. Anyway, he should be sulking.
It's a nice suburb, Liverpool, out in south-western Sydney. It's beautiful.
Yeah, it's beautiful. Do they talk like that in Liverpool? Have they got accents like that?
I've got no idea.
OK.
You guys are right. The first story was Ray Hadley asked Scott Morrison to swear on a Bible that he hadn't lied. Unfortunately, no one could find the Bible.
If you look down to your right-hand side of the studio, there's a book there.
No, there's not, actually.
Well, there should be a book there. There's a Bible there. Do you want to put your right hand on it and swear on that Bible?
Well, I don't have one, mate. And there's not one here.
Some guy from Gideon's is going to get sacked over that. All right, what was the second story, Team Turnbull?
It's just like a really dark episode of Play School.
The second story was... guns and cash were found in a giant teddy bear in Sydney.
At the unit in Torella, police found a bear in there. 2 blocks as well.
I knew this would happen when Big Ted got on ice. All right, and the last story.
This concerns a young lad who was at school in America, and he turned up at school with some sort of contraption which looked like the inside workings of a clock. And the teacher said, "That is not a clock. That, young man, is a bomb."
That's right, that's right.
And they didn't call the bomb squad, though. No. They didn't evacuate the school. They arrested him.
Yeah, and why did... what was the other slight thing that may have influenced why they arrested him?
Because he had a Muslim name.
Yeah, that's right, that's right.
I think it was John Smith.
A Muslim schoolboy in Texas was arrested when he brought in a homemade clock that his teacher thought was a bomb. The mistake prompted President Obama to invite him to the White House. Because, you know, those Muslims stick together. It's all right. It's all right. Donald Trump will clear that up later. It's fine.
Yeah, Craig, I don't know why people get so worked up about these so-called jihadi kids. I mean, in my experience, they tend to be quite laid back.
The English teen traded thousands of online messages with an 18-year-old in Melbourne. Suggest you break into someone's house and get your first taste of beheading. The Australian responded that it seemed a little risky. In another, you are a lone wolf, a wolf that begs Allah for forgiveness, a wolf that doesn't fear blame of the blamers. The response, pretty much.
That is right, we're safe. OK, well done, Team Telby. You got 2 out of 3. Congratulations.
Well done.
Now all right, well done, the players. That means the winner of Stitch Up is Team Shorten. And Chaz, what reward have we got for them?
Well, Erica Betts had a bad week this week, Craig, losing his ministry. So I've dipped into the archives to find the one time in history when Erica Betts smiled. He's a real natural.
News School. Lesson 3. When crossing to a reporter, try to make the reporter audible. Now, Channel 9.
And moments ago, I asked finance editor Ross Greenwood, how worried should we be?
Stock market shows it continued to fall even late this afternoon.
Fail. The reporter was not audible. Now, cross to a reporter whose microphone is on.
Yeah, and so as we said, he's faced a. He's. Thank you, Lisa.
Fair effort. The microphone was on, but the reporter failed to speak. Now, ABC, cross to a reporter who speaks.
All right, so clearly these workers in both places are planning to stay on for quite a while, Rachel.
That's right.
As I said,
Two reporters who speak, you naughty network.
Bored of the news.
OK, moving on now. If you're bored of the news, you've got something in common with our next game. All the questions in this round are behind these pictures here. We've got Cabinet being sworn in. David Cameron, the Prime Minister of Britain.
Uh-oh.
Yeah. We've got the Pope and Fidel Castro. We've got our mystery tweeter. We've got Peter Grester.
Oh, no.
And we've got the new member for Canning, Andrew Hastie. Our teams take it in turn to pick a subject, but the questions are open to everyone. Anyone can buzz in to answer. Team Shorten, who do you want to pick?
Let's go the Turnbull Cabinet.
We have our first female Minister of Defence, Marise Payne. Now, Marise gave a press conference and in a break from the past government, she no longer called ISIS a death cult. What term did the Defence Minister use for ISIS? Yes, Peter.
Labor?
Labour.
The Q&A audience.
Yes.
I didn't mean to interrupt you.
Sorry.
I know the answer, though, to this.
What do you think? Thank you, Peter. You know you're a ledge. I can't even believe I'm sitting on the same panel with you.
You're not.
Well,
What do you think it is?
Non-state actors?
Non-state actors. Let's have a look. Marise, when we...
We've clearly been operating in a different paradigm for some time now with a non-state actor.
Sounds like some kind of Canberra performance artist, in which case I agree with bombing them, OK? It's all right, I'm on board.
But they're not actors, though, are they?
They do call them actors.
Well, they do a lot of TV shows.
They're big on social media.
A lot of cat videos. It's not really acting, I suppose.
They did do a cat video. There was an ISIS cat video. Chaz, can you find that?
Yeah,
Chaz just went, it's ISIS cat video.
Put safe search on. Yeah.
Chaz is like, I cleared all my ISIS stuff off because they're looking into the ABC.
Is this it?
This is not the ISIS cat, idiot.
No, blame Google.
This is a cat called ISIS, idiot.
You
This is it. And no.
Is this it? This is it. This is it. This is it. There's a cat. There's a cat.
ISIS put out things to try and make themselves look less harsh. They had pictures of them with cats and guns. Which, interesting enough, by the way, that is the next show next week on Channel 7. Cats with guns make you lol. So, well done. I mean, it's not any surprise that he knew because he's close to the terrorists, of course. But anyway, exactly. Now, Tony Abbott himself did try to avoid the media this week, but he was caught on camera quite a bit, including here. What is Tony Abbott doing here?
I think he's actually trying to have sex with Australia.
Yes, Peter.
Is he looking for his grassroots support?
Yes, sorry. Oh, hang on.
I heard that Malcolm Turnbull told him someone had planted some onions around there somewhere.
Is he looking for his approval rating?
Does he think he's actually in the sea?
The actual answer, by the way, is he was doing a push-up after surfing. Yes, Chaz?
Don't worry about Abbott, Craig. He's actually completely moved on already. In fact, him and Joe Hockey found themselves a new job.
We have done some modelling.
Team Shorten won that. Congratulations. I guess that. How did we do that? All right, let's go back to the board of the news. OK, Team Turnbull, what do you want to pick from the board?
We'll go with David Cameron, please.
OK, all right. Now, this is a tricky one, OK, everyone? There is a story in the news this week involving British Prime Minister David Cameron and his biography. Sadly, we're in a PG time slot. So, can you explain the story in a way that's fine for the kids at home?
No.
Yeah. I will use this if you go too far.
I feel, as the only British person here, it's fair to say, and obviously I'm thinking about the kids, the story that this involves is, it goes something like this. This little piggy went to market. This little piggy stayed at home. And this little piggy said, "Oh, Prime Minister, fancy seeing you here."
Yes, right, yes.
I don't actually know how this ends, but it would have to start with something like, you know how your father really, really likes bacon?
Yes, so.
It's just about when a man and half a pig love each other very, very much.
Yes, Malcolm.
Kids, remember that great movie Babe? Well, there are some British Tories who think Babe was a babe.
You know the story of the big bad wolf who huffed and puffed and... the pig's toe.
Yes, Chaz, quickly stop.
This entire game is absolutely slanderous. David Cameron's uni friend put up a very convincing defence.
I don't think they'll be particularly damaging. I think if this wasn't such a slow news day, we probably wouldn't be discussing them now. I think, actually, if anything, it reflects quite well on the Prime Minister.
All right, Team Shorten, what's your pick from the board?
Well, I think it can only be the best-looking convicted terrorist up there.
All right.
Oh, yes.
Now, Peter, because of your conviction, travelling to any country that could extradite you to Egypt is extremely risky. I know I'm not telling you this. It's a very serious predicament and the premise of our next game. Here's how it works. Each team gets a choice of 2 places in the world Peter could fly to so he could cover an important international story. You have to keep Peter safe by choosing the country that doesn't have an extradition treaty with Egypt. For example, take this recent investigative masterpiece in the Arab news. Irish envoy impressed by warm Saudi hospitality. Should Peter travel to Saudi Arabia to follow up this scoop? No, he shouldn't, because it's a shit story. Also, because Saudis extradite people to Egypt, OK? So, Team Shorten, you can go first. You've got Peter's fate in your hands. Are you going to send Peter to Afghanistan to cover the country's first female paragliding team? Or go to Kerala in India to interview this rescued baby elephant that was trapped in a well?
We're just going to leave this all up to you.
I like the baby elephant story.
Yeah,
I just want to cover the baby
Peter,
elephant.
Just don't let
in
David
your
Cameron
case,
go
I wouldn't go for what story you like the best. You're the one person that should really care about this.
Isn't it always the case that Afghanistan is the least safe place to go? So, go to India.
Well,
Lock in India.
Do you go to India or don't? Where are you going?
No, we're going to Afghanistan. I like Afghanistan.
Go to Afghanistan? Let's log in Afghanistan. OK, you're sending Peter to Afghanistan. Let's see if that was a good choice. Yes, it was. Well done. Not only is Afghanistan ranked higher on the 2015 World Press Freedom Index, but Afghanistan also has no extradition treaty with Egypt. But India does. You got that right. Well done. Peter is safe.
Well done.
All right, Team 2, are you going to send Peter to South Africa to cover protests against American musician Pharrell Williams? Or would you dispatch Peter to China for an in-depth interview with China's Barack Obama lookalike?
So China or South Africa, what doesn't have an extradition treaty with Egypt?
Or how much do you hate Pharrell Williams?
Yeah.
Or now you released, Are You Happy Now?
I've always wanted a Pharrell Williams autograph.
All right, so where do you want to send him to?
South Africa.
Send him to South Africa. OK, Team 2 was sending Peter to South Africa. Is that a good idea? How could you? China ranks 176 out of 180 countries. South Africa has a treaty with Egypt to extradite people. China does not.
We never trust a terrorist.
Yes, Chaz.
Craig, there's actually two reasons why Peter Grester should go to China. Not only will he not get sent to Egypt, but also the Obama guy is awesome.
My English is bad, so when I go on stage to speak, I speak a mix of real English and fake English. I make it up as I go. Nobody understands it. Let me show you.
Ladies and gentlemen, it's very basic catch by the world. So, it's very most big catch by the world.
All right, that is the end of Board of the News. And I think our winning team is Team Shorten. But anyway, Chaz, what's our reward?
The reward is an interview with Liberal ex-Senator Sue Boyce, who has the honour of making the worst call of spill night.
Can we put you in the Malcolm Turnbull column if you were to have been so lucky to have still been here tonight?
No, you can't at all. Listening to the speeches earlier, I think it's Joe Hockey for PM would be my go at the moment.
Joe Hockey, treasuring legend. When unemployment was high, he took swift action.
But unemployment's gone up as well. Are you disappointed with these figures?
Well, the headline rate is just bouncing around too much at the moment, and that's one of the reasons why we've given the Australian Bureau of Statistics an extra $250 million to upgrade their computer systems.
By buying computers that would give different numbers. He oversaw the demise of the Aussie car industry, keeping us safe from smoky death traps like this. But above all, he retained a sense of rigorous inconsistency.
If interest rates come down today, it is because the economy is struggling, not because it's doing well. This is good news for Australian families, and it's good news for Australian business.
Making him the least reliable economic commentator in the country, except for this man.
And I'm not going to talk down the Australian economy. I say that the Australian economy is wallowing in mediocrity.
In the end, Tony Abbott was offering Hockey's job to anyone he met.
Make this man treasurer.
So Hockey performed one last public service. He resigned.
From my perspective, it's about putting the Australian people out of their misery.
Now he's heading to America, where he will never be considered fat again. Joe Hockey will be missed.
Really?
No.
Yesterday's news.
It's time to delve into the news archives from On This Day in History for Yesterday's News, the segment with even less future than Bill Shorten. And our first clip is from the ABC News on the 24th of September. It's also the 14th anniversary of the Chaser's favourite political interview of all time.
And I was put on on the podium where I was just a person out there making sure that I was... I'm sorry.
That's all right.
I have to resign.
Sorry, Mal Meninga is leaving.
Yes, rugby league great Mal Meninga had the shortest career in Australian political history, lasting only 28 seconds. What was the killer question that brought him down?
How do you feel about moving to Canberra?
I'm not actually sure if this is right, but I think it was something along the lines of, why? Why are you doing this?
It is very close. Let's have a look.
Why are you standing?
Ooh. Why are you standing was the question that led to that.
How did he not see that coming?
Yeah, exactly.
He's probably confused because at the time he was sitting.
What about you, Peter? Did you see some bad political interviews, or are they just too many bombs going off for you to hear them?
The worst was... Actually, I'm going to hold my hand up here. The worst was mine. I was interviewing a president and I forgot his name.
I reckon the worst one ever, or the most awkward, excruciating one to watch, was the shit happens one with former Prime Minister Tony Abbott.
Yes.
You know, and how many seconds was it that he just sort of sat there shaking slightly?
It was the length of 4 Mal Meninga political careers.
The one I remember is Brian Howe, and Howe had been made Deputy Prime Minister, and he had this press conference and the reptiles were hitting him hard, and he just wanted to get out there. So he got up from the desk, went to the nearest door, opened it, walked in. Unfortunately, it was a cupboard. Sometime later, somebody said to him, "So, what have you been doing?" He said, "I've been assiduously avoiding cupboards."
You should have said he was promoted to cabinet.
Let's move on to our next piece of yesterday's news. What mistakes did this man make?
I'm angry with myself. I made some mistakes.
Comb over?
You're just jealous.
Sure. He hasn't aged a bit. That's Joe Biden.
It is Joe Biden. Yeah, what was his mistake?
So many mistakes with
So
Joe
many
Biden.
mistakes, yeah. A tsunami of mistakes, and this is him stepping out of the presidential race. But one of the big catalysts was that he'd been busted plagiarising.
You are spot on. Let's see.
Reports that he'd plagiarised a speech by the British Labour leader, Neil Kinnock.
The first Kinnock in 1,000 generations to be able to get to university.
Why is it that Joe Biden is the first in his family ever to go to a university?
We shall pay any price.
We'll pay any price.
Bear any burden.
Bear any burden.
Meet any hardship.
Accept any challenge and meet any hardship.
Ripping off JFK, probably not as smart either.
Terrible, that whole thing about plagiarism and then you still try and make a comeback. I mean, I could never do that myself. Because if anything, I have a dream.
Albo got sort of done, but it was more of a borrowing at one stage where he'd sort of...
what's the
borrowing without attribution, perhaps.
That is not a borrowing. That is not a borrowing at all.
We have serious problems to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
We have serious challenges to solve, and we need serious people to solve them.
Bob Rumson is not the least bit interested in solving it.
Unfortunately, Tony Abbott is not the least bit interested in fixing anything.
He is interested in two things, and two things only: making you afraid of it and telling you who's to blame for it.
He's only interested in two things: making Australians afraid of it and telling them who's to blame for it.
I cannot believe that American show copied Albo. That's great. That is the end of yesterday's news, and Team Shorten keeps winning. This is wrong.
It's so not reflective of reality.
Yeah. James, what's the reward?
Your reward is this classic footage of our new Prime Minister.
But the twists and turns of federal politics have proved to be a greater challenge for the multimillionaire.
Parenting with the news. And children love them, but could school holidays be doing more harm than good?
Why childcare could be doing your kids more harm than good.
Homework for younger students can do more harm than good.
Parents are being warned not to treat their kids like friends because it can do more harm than good. Go to bed.
Napping could be doing young children more harm than good.
Kissing your kids, the controversial claim it could be harmful.
Is fruit doing you more harm than good?
shooting drills are now common in schools where young children duck under desks and masked gunmen fire blank rounds at them. But is it doing more harm than good?
Mum, I think watching the news is doing you more harm than good.
And finally tonight it's Pandemonium, the game where we ask our panellists to pun for their lives. Not good for me either. I'm going to give you stories from the news, each built on a solid foundation of tortured wordplay, and you're going to give me the puns. For example, if I told you there was a wombat looking for love, you might guess something like this.
The Wombatula looking for love.
Are you ready? Is the audience ready? No! Hands on buzzers, please. First up, a story about missing ducklings. Julian.
Was it solved by a detective?
Ooh, no, that's not one.
They didn't want to pay the bill.
Police said they were found near a nudist colony because they were Peking ducks.
What'll the police do about it?
How are we going to quack this case?
That is one of them. That is one of them. Pretty damn great.
Can hardly find them.
Oh, that's very good.
Did the ducklings go over the hills and far away?
Yeah. That's just a poem. Let's see if you're right.
Clever detective work quacked the case.
Ducking and weaving. It took a wild goose chase.
Yes, that last one was particularly hard. Seen as Channel 9 made the pun about the wrong animal, but anyway. Next up, it's a story about a dachshund race. Hang on, I before the show I thought I should find out how to pronounce that. Next up, a story about a dachshund race.
Yeah.
What were the puns?
He won by a whisker.
He won by a wiener.
That is extremely close, yes.
And the race where everyone's a wiener.
Wow.
Fleet-footed Snossage was the day's top dog, getting home by a whisker.
All right, finally tonight, a man has stolen 4 electric guitars from a shop.
It was only 4 guitars, so it was a minor crime.
He was a first-timer offender.
They're going to string him up.
The owner was fretting about them.
But he didn't get away with the loot.
No need to fret. He's stringing you along.
It's just putting 2 other people together. Cheap.
Can we stop?
Let's see what the news went with.
It might just be this thief's greatest hit. The greedy bandit knows exactly what he's after, plucking them off the wall. The early morning break-in has struck the wrong chord among the staff, a loss to the tune of $10,000. There are certainly strings attached as police scale up their hunt for the short and stocky bandit who struck a sour note.
Puns. They kill us.
Well done.
Oh, emergency phone call.
There's been a spill.
I had to reshoot the whole thing.
Oh.
Can we all read it?
What's happening?
Oh my God. James has got top score in Angry Birds.
We've just had some late breaking news here.
Oh my God.
That Mohammed Fahmy has been pardoned in Egypt. Right.
Wow.
What is it, Anne?
It's just okay. If he's got a pardon, it means, and God, I hope it means that Bahar is out too, because it's hard to imagine. I'm sorry, I'm feeling really emotional.
No, exactly, no.
I mean, we've been fighting for the past 8 months for this, and I mean, Christ, I'm sorry.
Let's hope it is for both of them.
Oh, dude.
Yeah.
That's one down.
One more to go.
One down.
Thank you to Peter Gresta and everyone here.
And I bet when you imagine this moment, this is exactly where you...
Just shows the power of coming on the Media Circus.
Let's do some puns.
Thank you for watching the Media Circus. See you next week. Yeah.